All right, so are you ready to dive in? Today we're looking at AI. Um, will it steal your spotlight even if it can't directly take your job?
It's a question we're all asking, and you found a really interesting article in Synthetic Work to help us unpack this whole thing.
Yeah. In issue #69, Alessandro starts off with this story about two cellos. They're like this Croatian cello duo, if you heard of them.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Really talented. Right?
Yeah.
Alessandro talks about how this tech guy, I think it was Robert Scoble, said there's no way AI is going to replace them anytime soon. And it makes sense, like on the surface, because they're that good. But Alessandro uses this whole thing to make a really interesting point.
Yet it's not always about AI being like, I'm taking your job. It's about how AI changes everything, the whole situation. What if AI suddenly puts out tons of incredible music writing art all the time? Even if you're like the best artist, how do you even stand out with so much out there? Like our attention spans are only so big, right?
That's true. It's not that some robot is going to show up and be like, you're fired. It's that suddenly what you do is different because now there's all this AI stuff. And even if it's not perfect, it still changes things.
Totally. Like imagine if everyone could have a Michelin star chef who makes them anything at the push of a button. Those fancy restaurants, even with the best human chefs,
Yeah.
might have empty tables.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's less about can AI do what you do perfectly and more about what you do feeling less special, less unique because there's so much AI stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that gets us to like the big question. As AI changes everything, what makes your skills actually valuable?
Mhm.
And how do you stay ahead of the curve?
And this leads to another thing Alessandro talks about AI creativity. He mentions Jeremy Howard, who founded Fastmail, and he was a Kaggle guy too.
Oh, yeah, he knows AI.
Definitely. And Howard says these AI systems are really good at one thing. They're really good at patterns and remixing what's already out there.
Yeah, like give an AI a million songs and it'll create something that sounds new, but it's still using those same patterns. They're
Yeah.
incredible at connecting the dots.
So we shouldn't expect AI to write amazing new scientific theories anytime soon.
Not on its own. Howard calls them fuzzy subgraph matching machines, which means they're good at connecting those dots, but they need the dots first, right? We still need humans for those truly new ideas.
Okay, that's good, but I don't know. It makes you wonder if AI is always limited by the data we give it, will human progress just stop, like hit a ceiling?
It's a good question and a real concern. It shows how important we are. We have to keep pushing those boundaries, finding new things to feed the AI. It's a two-way street. It's like we're feeding this AI thing more and more all the time, giving it more to remix, but does that mean it's always going to be like a remix machine?
That's what I'm wondering. Is there some point where it's like quantity turns into quality, or is it always stuck with what we give it?
It's a question philosophers have been thinking about forever, but Alessandro actually has a different point in the article. He talks about this MIT economist David Otter, and Otter thinks AI could make jobs.
Whoa, really? I thought AI was supposed to take our jobs, not give us more. How does that even work?
So Otter thinks AI can make it easier for everyone to get expert advice. Like imagine YouTube, but for white-collar jobs.
Okay. I'm picturing it, and I kind of like it. What else?
Say you need to file some legal document, but lawyers are expensive. What if AI could walk you through it, like those super detailed how-to videos online, but for legal stuff? It could make sure you're doing the right forms and stuff.
So instead of replacing lawyers, AI would be like their assistant and make them more affordable.
Exactly. Lawyers wouldn't go away completely, but now people could do some things themselves that they couldn't before. And think about it for other stuff too, like AI tools that help a small business with their taxes or help students with math.
That's way more optimistic than what you usually hear about AI.
But there's a catch.
Hmm.
People still need some basic knowledge, right? AI would help them use their skills better, not replace the skills.
So it's like AI is the ultimate DIY helper, but you still got to know the basics.
Right. It's a tool, and we have to learn to use it the right way.
Okay, so that's a more hopeful view. But speaking of not so hopeful, remember Mogadot?
The Google X guy thinks AI will get rid of most jobs.
That's the one. Well, he's got this new theory, and it's kind of out there. He thinks big tech companies are saying AI won't be that bad for jobs, but they're wrong.
Why would they do that?
To avoid the government getting involved.
The classic conspiracy theory.
Right. Like I said, it's a little out there. Just to be clear, neither Alessandra nor we are saying this is actually happening, but it makes you think. Like, at some point, don't we need to rethink how society works, even if everyone has their basic needs met? It's something to think about.
For sure. And then Alessandra's article goes in a completely different direction and talks about this many-shot prompting.
Okay, tell me everything. What is that?
So remember we talked about fine-tuning AI models before. It's really hard and expensive. Well, many shot prompting says you might not need to do that.
Interesting. How?
Instead of fine-tuning, you just give the AI a ton of examples, like hundreds or even thousands, right in the prompt. And it could work just as well.
So instead of giving the AI a whole textbook, you just show it amazing essays and it figures out how to write.
Yeah, it's like showing it how instead of telling it.
That's so cool. Wouldn't that make AI easier for everyone to use? Especially for smaller companies or people who can't afford to fine tune these big models.
Totally. It
Yeah.
could change everything. Imagine not needing a whole team of AI people. You just need to understand the problem and have a lot of good examples.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot. AI making too much stuff, AI not being creative enough, AI maybe making jobs, even some conspiracy theories. You're interested in AI and music, and it just so happens that Alessandro talks about that
Oh,
too.
yeah, this is where it gets really interesting.
He talks about this AI music generator, Stable Audio 2.0. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, it's getting a lot of attention.
There's this audio to audio thing. It's wild. Imagine humming a tune and the AI makes a whole song around it.
Yeah, and people are making them even better, like for different instruments and genres. The stuff they're doing is really impressive.
But it's more than just the tech. Alessandro talks about Suno and Udio, these companies that are using it to change how the music industry works.
Yeah, they're moving away from the traditional ways of doing things like licensing and stuff, and they're making platforms where everyone can be a creator or a listener. And the potential is huge. Like AI could make a custom soundtrack for your life. It would change based on your mood or what you're doing.
That's crazy. Talk about an infinite playlist.
And it's more than just listening. Alessandro was saying his daughter saw Suno and now she wants to be a musician. So AI isn't replacing musicians, it's making more people want to be musicians.
It really is something. AI making music and people wanting to make more music because of it. I don't know about you, but it's pretty exciting, even with all the stuff we talked about that's maybe not so good.
Oh, for sure. It's a whole new world. And this article from Alessandro, it goes even further, like right to the edge of what's happening with Google Chrome. They're trying out this thing called the Prompt API right in the browser.
Wait, hold on. My browser could have AI. That sounds like something out of a movie.
Right. It's all about making AI easier for everyone to use. So Chrome's Prompt API, you could use this smaller LLM called Gemini Nano. Imagine browser extensions that could like summarize a whole web page for you or translate stuff instantly,
Yeah.
all with AI. Or someone who doesn't know anything about coding could make a website that uses AI.
So it's not just AI in some lab somewhere. It's going to be in the stuff we use every day. That's a big deal.
Totally. You can really change things, make AI something everyone can use, not just these huge tech companies.
Okay, so to wrap everything up, I think the big takeaway isn't, will AI take my job? It's more like AI is changing everything, so are you ready?
Yeah, exactly. Don't be scared of robots. Be ready for a different world. What skills matter now? How
Mhm.
can you use these new tools to help you? Those are the questions we all need to be thinking about.
And maybe even more importantly, what kind of world do we want to make with these tools? It's a conversation we all need to be a part of.
Totally agree. We need to think carefully, be willing to change, and really understand the details. And that's something AI can't do, at least not yet.
That's something to think about for sure. So as you're listening to your AI music, watching YouTube for your job, and using your AI-powered browser, remember this. You're not just along for the ride, you get to help decide where we're going. What skills do you think will be important in the future? How can you use these new tools to make what you do even better? Think about it. And until next time, keep diving.